David, Pablo, Sammy, Tony, all good to see you guys here this morning. JJ, welcome, guys. Good morning. I already had my coffee, so now I'm going to have my seltzer. All right, let's see what's going on here. Post this in the Discord real quick. All right. So we're kind of grinding up here, guys. We're holding a strong bid in NQ.
Representative Korea met with their Vietnamese counterparts on trade and had a productive virtual meeting.
We're testing that 19,000 level, which is the value area high from yesterday. So if they can blast through this, we can probably expect to go back up to 19,100, which is kind of the high volume node. All right, so we're testing this low volume node, which we seem to be breaking through in the value area high from yesterday's session. As we push through, we can now expect to trade in this distribution with the point of control being right around here, right? So that'll probably be our next level. And then we'll retest. If we can get past this level, we'll retest the highs. If we can break on through that, we'll probably have some serious price discovery. So we'll be watching. Let's see if we can get an opportunity to get in, but it's very strong right now. I've taken some quick fade scalps off the higher time frame value areas. And we want to talk about the yearly VWAP here on NQ, right? And how we've tested this lower band once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and today is 8. 8 times we've tried to break into this value area and have been rejected. So try and tell me these levels are not important. All right, we bounced here on the weekly band. Look where the high was from yesterday. Coincidentally, at the upper band on the monthly VWAP. Weird. Huh. Imagine that. Morning, everybody on YouTube. Glad to have you guys here. I stream for the first 30 minutes for free on YouTube. This is a great opportunity to ask me any questions. Then we'll continue to trade in the Discord. For the premium members, we'll go to about 12 o'clock Eastern time. There's a free trial for that. You guys are welcome to grab that. And inside the Discord, there's a ton of content, including the full VWAP Wave system course. So you can go through that entire course for free. Dominic, another good short setup with the IB indicator. Guys have been loving the indicator.
Time out at the top of the hour, we'll see the release of the US existing home sales for March.
Okay, so, you know, we're kind of going to be testing the value area low of this distribution up here.
With a range of 4.35 to 3.99 million expected. And the change forecast minus 3.05% on the prior 4.2%.
Just watching this little sell off here. I don't expect this to be too big, but we'll see what happens here. I expect a lot of this to get bought up. So we'll see what happens here. As sellers try to move this thing south, but I doubt it. I think we got some very strong buyers in the market here trying to break through a lot of these levels. So Nathan asks, who do you learn VWAP profile from? Any mentors you had? Yeah, I've learned a lot. I mean, I've learned it a lot over the years. Somebody who trades futures really well that advocates this method is Merritt Black from Apteros. He was also at SMB Capital. He has the NADRO system, which is very similar. I add a little more into it. He uses market profile. I use volume profile. So some little differences and nuances. He also tends to trade a little differently in terms of execution. Aaron Corbs is also a great volume profile trader. He also uses VWAP bands. Very similar trading system. He got a lot of notoriety for interviewing, a live interview with ICT, who I'm a big fan of, but he was able to nail an interview with him. So it's a very interesting interview indeed. When he talks about how he was kidnapped and these people disclosed to him the secret algorithm of the markets. And claims Jesus came to him and gave him the secret. So a little much for me, but you know, I think he repackaged some stuff. All right, so we broke through the 19,000 level and we're still going straight up. We could probably expect to go around to this.
S&P 500 extending gains now up 0.6.
I like 19,100 for probably a little overtracement. If we get up there, that's still 70 points away. Let's see what the other markets are doing. Oil's chopping at VWAP. Natural gas is pretty much in sight. Price discovery to the downside. All right, that would have been a good short. A little late now. Copper back in. Value. Nice value area. Extreme fade there. Corn and soybeans very, very slow today. Bitcoin at 93.5. At VWAP. Silver. This could be a short here. It rejects at IB low and lower band on silver. That would be interesting. Something like this. We have the indexes that are rip-roaring to the upside. Mike, there should be sound.
The 1 minute remaining now of leading with US existing home sales. According to Politico, the US names Michael Anton to lead technical talks with Iran.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Maximus, Sammy, D-Bomb. Good to have you. We got somebody on YouTube saying my volume is very low. Does anybody else have that issue? We get a lot of people who think it's me, but it's actually them. Okay. Mike, everybody's saying the sound is good. So sorry. It's you, not me.
10 seconds.
This might turn into a return to value trade.
4.02 million, 4.02 million, that's loaded forecast, 4.13 million. The change minus 5.9%, minus 5.9%, loaded forecast minus 3.1%.
All right, let's see what we get.
Now. Existing home sales prior revised up to 4.27.
I do like 19,100 for a retracement. We'll see if we get there.
On 4.2%.
So what I'm looking at for this retracement would be the high volume node from yesterday's distribution. We had this B distribution yesterday. The volume profile. So next stop would be the point of control of that distribution,
in just under 5 minutes time.
which we're actually very close to. About 30 points away now. Whoa.
Let's just keep in mind we're seeing reports that Fed's Waller is due to be interviewed on Bloomberg TV shortly.
Well, the good news is when this finally finishes, we'll probably get a nice rotation to the downside. We just need to be really patient because this rotation is already 50 minutes long. For 50 minutes, we've been going straight up. So it could do this for another half hour. We'll see. But we're getting closer and closer to the level I like, which is the point of control from yesterday's upper distribution. Not all that far from upper band. They're still stacking this bid. So unless we get some sellers step into the market, Dow already starting to retrace a little bit, which is interesting. Dow is finding sellers.
Fed Wallace says tariffs are part of most economic debates now. Again, speaking on Bloomberg TV.
Logger says home sales came in line pretty much, so no news there. Home sales are garbage. So it's interesting, if you're watching all four indexes, sometimes you'll get a leader. And Dow started to sell off long before the other ones. Now ES is finding sellers. So Dow led, ES is following, and then usually the rest aren't far behind. So you can catch a little bit of an edge by watching all four indexes that way.
Navigate tariffs. I'm really surprised we've seen more layoffs and higher unemployment.
I still see at least one more big push here. So let's see if we get up there.
So we're shortly expecting comments from ECB syndicates as well.
Let me see if I can raise my volume here a little bit, guys.
Fed Wallace says
No, it's already at max.
We'll have a modest pass-through.
Maybe that helps. Yeah, I'm at max volume here.
We need better control of the budget deficit.
I'll trade. So Nathan, that's why am I watching NQ and not ES? I trade both. I trade whichever has the better setups. Some days NQ will set up better. Some days ES will set up better. Some days I'll trade the Dow. Some days I'll trade the Russell.
Should be off the table.
I don't have to trade just one. I trade the one with the better setups. And as of today, NQ has had much cleaner price action, believe it or not. Look how NQ set up nicely right here. And these nice areas here, whereas ES is kind of a little more choppy, believe it or not. We did have a nice setup here
Likely that by July,
on VWAP.
Clear tariff impacts yet.
IB extension right here. All right, let's get that next push. Here we go. Now I'm watching 19,100.
Fed Wallace says the easiest place to offset tariff costs is by cutting payrolls.
close now. So this is the area I'm watching for a little bit of a retracement. Point of control
Waller adds that we could see prices going up as layoffs
from
start.
yesterday's upper distribution. If anything, a little chop here. It's to be expected.
Waller says the second half of the year will bring clarity on tariffs impact.
They're holding it so far. It's a lot of green, red candles. Green, red candles. A lot of green candles on NQ.
Waller says less the level of unemployment, but the speed of change, that's the focus.
All right, let's see what happens here. Pretty close now, 10 points away. 19,100.
It's possible that tariffs could push up the unemployment rate quickly.
Nice. Dominic caught a good short on gold from the breakout of IB. All right, now we're about at that level. See how we do. We have IB high from yesterday right here. Unless it's going straight for it. Well, we're at 19,100 now, so we're kind of at the upper end of this distribution. We've just pretty much traversed that entire distribution from yesterday.
Waller says the struggle over the last 18 months has been uneven inflation progress.
Okay, now we'd be patient here.
And Waller says,
so I know, this is a little more of an advanced trade because this is a higher time frame value area trade. So these areas aren't as precise. So small size, maybe scale into a little bit of a short up here, giving myself some room.
And Waller says demand slowdown from tariffs will offset some inflation impact.
Something like this. A little room to add.
Waller says it's going to take courage to stare down tariff price increases and see them as transitory.
Yeah. Well, would you look at that? I mean, we're down almost 40 points from there already. That worked out real nice.
Waller says I'm willing to look through tariff price increases.
That put me up over 570 already across my 5 accounts. So guys, that level right there was yesterday's distribution. The point of control. It's not, you're not going to see it on the indicator. You have to look at this chart. Okay. So we have this double distribution. Okay. The first place we had to break out of was obviously this distribution and get into this one. We did so. right? So my next target was going to be the point of control, which is right here, the highest price level in this distribution. Now, if we can't get past this, we can go all the way back to the bottom of this distribution, of which we buy it and try again, or we go to the other side of value if we're able to get through the point of control. This is all based on the VWAP Wave system rules. We just traded yesterday's distribution because we don't really have any data for here yet today. So we're going off yesterday's data. That's why I keep this chart up there. That's about a 50-point, 200 tick move already. You know, whether we get more, I don't know. We'll see. It took an hour to get here. It could take another half hour to get down here. It's also very strong. This is the first red candle we've had since 9 o'clock this morning.
That's all it does say that data focus brings
over an hour ago
on policy action.
So did anybody take that trade with us there? I was kind of looking out for that level for quite a while.
Altman says there may be further cuts this year, but the number is still outstanding.
Worked out nice. All right, let's see what we get next. But I'm expecting, I wouldn't buy this at this point, or we need a rotation back down. This is too early. All right, the rhythm of the market, we'd probably be looking to be down here, ideally. Now, that doesn't mean I know it's going to get here, but this would be the next logical place to long.
While various scenarios remain possible with regard to prices and movement of rates, for the time being, the direction was downward.
You could have your stop at break even up here. And the next place we'll probably look to go is this IB high from yesterday. I'm going to mark that just in case we lose it. And this is getting bought up so far. Very, very strong. But we did get the reaction I was looking for. Yeah, it is, Nathan. And that's how I'm able to consistently make money. He says my risk reward is so tight. That's how I'm also able to win 80% of my trades. If you're looking for big moves, your win rates can be much, much lower. They're directly correlated. Bigger risk to reward range, win rate goes. Look for tighter ranges, my win rate goes. They're directly correlated. So if you're okay losing a lot of trades and waiting for that big one that makes up for all of them, that's how you trade. That's great. That's not how I trade. I trade with a much higher win rate, usually a 1-to-1, tighter ranges. I'm day trading, right? I don't want to look at this thing all day. I want to take my piece. I'll trade for an hour or two, make a couple $1,000 and call it a day. If you can beat that with bigger ranges, that's awesome. I do. It's just much tighter, Nathan. And maybe I take bigger size than you. So I'm trading 5 accounts over here, top step accounts. this is it for today so far. Micros. So, 2,500 bucks. And I've been trading for about half an hour. I'm good with that. I don't know many people can make 2,500 bucks in half an hour. But if your way's better, I'm not telling anybody my way is the way, but this is how I make money. So with that NNQ trade, I had about 12 or 13 MNQ for that short there. And I scaled out as we got to 30, 40, 50 points. I mean, that's almost 200 ticks, guys. These are 5-minute candles. Now, like I said, it can take half an hour to an hour to come all the way back down here. So Sabrina asked, how many micros do I scale in? And that is what I struggle with understanding the best case. So, and that's different. It's all based on your risk tolerance and your risk parameters for your account. It's not the same for everybody. Right? If I'm willing to lose $1,000 on a trade, I could probably trade, scale into 10 or 15 if I keep my stop real close, right? I'm looking to be right away, guys. I'm not looking to go deep red or have a big stop loss for most trades, right? The way I trade, we hit a level that I'm expecting an immediate reaction. If I don't get it, I'm out. If it's working in my favor, that's great. I'll scale some profits, move my stop to break even, and I'm on house money at that point. If I get stopped out, I could always get it back in again. Nice, Michael. 21 points. I mean, that's 80 ticks. All right, let's take a look at oil. Yeah. Looks like it's trying to break out of today's value. This is the value area high and low. This is a huge level right here. We might get a little bit of a bounce before it goes lower. Yep, Sabrina, exactly. If you're willing to lose $250 on one trade, you can scale in with as many micros as you have distanced on a stop. It's based on volatility. There's a lot of pieces to that equation. It's not just, and it should be somewhat dynamic. All right, so this trade is break even or over. If you didn't take partials on that, let's watch for the next setup. Now again, this is a point of control from yesterday, so we can expect chop here. If we can get through it, we can expect to go to the other side of value. 161, so this IB high from yesterday, maybe a little above it. So oil's catching a little bit of a bounce. We could certainly see some more downside, but I see this as a value area high and value area low from the 20th and the 17th. So that's a huge level right here. That's 62.60 essentially. Right there. Now, if we could break and hold, we can certainly see a lot more downside, probably to at least 62.50, which is not that exciting. And then probably 62.30 for that point of control. I assume you're looking for a short logger. Or are you looking to faded value extremes for long? Because this is kind of a value area. So this is our value area for today, right? So we can expect to stay in this value area until we break and accept to the downside. So we're still testing it. No bias. Currently, I see us still in value. So I think we're in a balanced market, and I don't see any big moves happening until we move out of this value area. So no bias. I think we'll range here, quite honestly. Now, I don't pretend to know what's happening. I just follow the rules of my system, right? That keeps me in my guardrails and gets me into certain trades and keeps me out of others. So until we break and accept below today's value area, we're technically in a balanced market, and I expect to range here until we can prove otherwise. Yep. If you have the, let me pull this up. The core setup guide. This is why I hate dragging things over to this window. My two monitors have different resolutions, so when I pull things over, it gets all screwy. Let's see. Okay, so these are the principles, right? So these kind of guide the rules of the system. The market tends to persist in its current behavior rather than abruptly changing direction. Instead of predicting shifts, we align with prevailing market conditions. Trade based on what you see, not what you hope, right? So if we are in value, we expect to stay in value. If we're in price discovery, we expect to stay in price discovery. Until there's a contextual shift, I don't try to predict what's going to happen. All right. And when we're in value, right? So if we're in value right here, right? Let me blow this up. So the rules of value are, if we can't break below this value area, we'll go back to point of control. If we can't break through point of control, we'll go back to this value area low. If we can get through point of control, we'll get to this value area high. If we can't break out into price discovery, we'll go back to point of control. It just goes on like that until we can prove otherwise into price discovery in search of a new value area. And those are the core fundamentals of auction market theory that have been around for a very long time. And they work very, very well. Top left is hourly. Top left is hourly, 5 minute. Bottom right is 30 minutes. Bottom left is daily. So Sean, we don't have to wait for IB. If you're trading the IB, you can trade yesterday's levels are still valid on the initial balance until we have an initial balance today. And then I have other tools like the VWAP and volume profile to take trades off of until I have an initial balance.
So again, in 5 minutes time now at the bottom of the hour, we see the release of the EIA natural gas change for the week. Forecast is a build of 74 BCF on the prior build of 16 BCF. Andy von der Leyen says LNG imports from the US remain a strategic importance for the EU.
All right, just waiting. So we're kind of mimicking yesterday's distribution now. So we can get some chop up here. Good area to scalp some balance trading. We're starting to build some structure up here, which is conducive to I just grabbed a little short there. So this is the structure I'm trading here, guys. We have a volume node, right? So we're building some distribution. We can probably expect to maybe go back to point of control here sooner or later. This will serve as a floor. Right now, we're just extending this distribution. We're making it bigger. So, you know, I think it's losing its got some buyers here. All right, we're approaching that. I guess it's 165, which is interesting. 160 up there will be yesterday's IB high. All right. How's everybody doing? Let's do a little 10:30 a.m. check-in. We're gonna have our initial balance here shortly. How's everybody trading so far? Any good trades, bad trades? How are we doing mentally, emotionally? Trading well, dialed in, on tilt? Where are we at? Great so far. Good.
1 minute remaining for the EIA natural gas change.
We have natural gas numbers coming out here shortly. Doubt anybody's trading natural gas, but good. You usually trade minis, Tony?
10 seconds. Build of 88 BCF.
Right, we have an initial
higher than the expected build of 75 BCF.
balance set here. And 30.
We're seeing some weakness in natural gas prices here following the larger than expected storage build.
Natural gas dropping like a stone. I trade the 5 minute, Bob. So the setting, change, Michael says my settings, it looks skinny and sets the right.
500 up 1 spot 2%.
So for this one,
up 1 spot 7%, and the Dow up 0 spot
199 rows, and then, you know, I have it on the left.
We have posted out the weekly EIA natural gas storage reports on the feed for those interested.
Well, this is a good day for my retirement account. Let's see what's going on here. Not bad. Not bad at all. Higher time frame. So we're in price discovery on the session, but we're still in balance from yesterday. We're at the top of that area right here. So I look at the higher time frame too, Logger, for entries and trades. First, it was this distribution before we went higher. Yeah, I mean, there is a lot. If it were easy, everybody would be, we wouldn't need trading groups. We wouldn't need mentors. We wouldn't need any of this stuff. We just pick up a book and make money. But as we all know, that is not the case. I'll tell you what, on days like today, they make it real easy for longs to stay in their positions, which is very interesting. Book map. All right, so we're still struggling here at the initial balance high. Maybe we get a little rejection before we go higher. We're certainly due for a pullback, but that doesn't mean we can't keep going. Liquidate all shorts before it actually gets a pullback.
To a letter, U.S. Transportation Department warns states that they could lose federal funding over failing to cooperate on immigration enforcement.
This slow, grindy action is not really ideal for shorts either. You got to be able to catch these short, quick moves. I'm not really a trend trader. I'm not really ever trying to catch these big moves and hold on to them the entire time. It's just not my style. But also, if that's your style, you probably have a very low win rate because that doesn't happen very often. It's very tough to catch those moves. So you're usually stopping out trade after trade trying to catch it. And then when you finally catch it, you make a whole bunch of money in this home run trade that makes up for all those losers. So don't forget, there's drawbacks to everything. Everybody wants to catch the big move, but what they don't realize is that you're going to take 10 losses in your attempt to catch the big move, right? And after taking 5, 6 losses in a row, it's very hard to take another trade. So, and nobody talks about that. Everybody wants to trade big moves, but nobody is willing to do what it takes. You can't have a high rate winning strategy and catch big moves. They're completely on polar sides of the trading spectrum. High win rate strategies are for scalpers. Low big moves catchers are low win rate strategies. And oftentimes you're spending a lot more time in front of the screens. It's accelerating a little bit. So this could be, good price discovery long, but we're at yesterday's high. So you're going to get people looking for the breakout here. We're shorting this. Oh yeah. Okay, gold. Yeah, that would be a price continuation short off gold. Right there. Now we're in the band here, so this is mixed signals. This is return to value on the VWAP, but price continuation short on IB. So not great confluence on that one. Yeah, could be a great short off the IB. We're also breaking into value on the weekly here. So we'll see. We're also kind of return to value on the session volume profile.
Italy and German 10-year yield gap falls 4 basis points to 109 basis points. That's a 4-week low.
Okay, it just looks like it broke yesterday's high. Now, do they reject it here? Suck in all the breakout buyers? Get a little retracement? We'll see if we break below IB high here. Should be interesting. We've been going straight up for a while. No sellers. Just freight train moves. Some wise advice from Chuck. If you're going to trade micros, make sure you're on MNQ. All right, guys. For those of you on YouTube, thanks for joining us this morning. Appreciate your support here on YouTube. Hope you got some insights. We're going to continue trading in the Discord. If you want to join us, go hop into the free trial in the Discord. There's a link for that in the description of this YouTube stream. We hope to see you in there. For you guys on Discord, we're going to keep trading. Also, tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have group coaching live in the Discord. So hope to see you guys there. If you want to join a free trial to join that, you can do that as well. All right, YouTubers, if you're going to keep trading, stay sharp, manage your risk. For you guys in the Discord,